That's a bingo! Is that the way you say it? That's a bingo.
You just say bingo.
Bingo! How fun!
All right, That's a Bingo is back. It is Thursday, November 19th, 2020. My name is Jake Luke, and I'm joined on the screen by, looks like Matt Bang. What's going on there, Matt Bang?
Matt Bang, in reference to one Joe Bang from our movie review this week, which is Logan Lucky. I just love to see Daniel Craig doing the Southern accent thing. So,
Not to be confused with Jack Quaid's Fish Bang, of course, but... Is Daniel Craig, like, is he just going to be like the suave, like, Bond, character, the guy from Defiance who's like this really like masculine, like manly figure, A, and then B is just like some down home, like Southern boy in like every American movie? Like, what is the deal here?
It confounds me.
Compels me, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite the little switch up for old Mr. Craig. Don't know if I could have seen Pierce Brosnan doing this little switch, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot.
What is Pierce up to these days?
Couldn't tell you. I think the only movie I've seen him in other than James Bond was Mrs. Doubtfire, right? I don't remember him in much else.
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah. The Run by Fruiting.
Interesting. Interesting figure he is, Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah. Mostly, that's how I relate most to James Bond, the character.
Yeah, I think we've had this discussion actually, where it's like we associate him more with the character, but we know that the Craig movies are better.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I got to go back and do a rewatch because I've seen Casino Royale. Pretty sure I've seen Skyfall, but it's been a minute, so I got to revisit those.
Yeah, I've only seen, I think, Casino Royale. So, yeah, it feels like it'll be a good revisit. Maybe we'll do one of those one of these days. Yeah. When they announce the new Bond, finally. I feel like that's been a conversation for the last 5 years at this point.
New Bond, and is I think Daniel Craig is finished with that? Is that the idea?
Done, yeah. I think this most recent one was his last one, and they've been throwing out Tom Hardy, Idris Elba, maybe to bring a sort of a different flavor to it. Yeah, I don't know.
That would be sick. I would love Idris Elba. Also love Tom Hardy. Big fan of most of the British actors, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I could see. What they really should do is they should have an American actor playing this time.
Oh, that'd be who would be your ideal pick there?
I mean, Hammer and Hank Cavill. Henry Cavill would be my guy. That guy, that guy would pull it off very well.
That would be a unique choice for sure. Trying to think like the suave character. I don't know. I was thinking of my cousin Chris Pine, but I don't know if he would.
Now he's a little rough around the edges. I feel like I don't know if he'd really be in that mold. You could obviously clean him up a little bit, but I don't know if I'd be able to see past some of his other stuff that he's done. Which that's a good thing in my opinion.
Oh, he could be like the inverse of Daniel Craig, like to go from suave to like the rough around the edges and do the opposite. You never know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You had I guess Connery was a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, kind of. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That was a good one.
Okay.
Not actually a good one, but it's okay.
Didn't expect we'd open with 5 minutes of James Bond talk.
You never know what you're going to get on That's a Bingo. That's for sure.
God, you sure don't, man. How's everything going?
Going good. Getting into the holiday feel. Not doing a whole lot this year, obviously. In these trying times, as I say.
These uncertain times.
Uncertain times. Just kind of hanging, chilling with the fam, not doing anything crazy. How about you?
Yeah, same deal pretty much. Kind of, I think there's uncertainty about what we're going to be doing next week for Thanksgiving. I think there is going to be a lot of separation. So going to see what happens. Maybe try to get this Christmas tree up to spruce up the mood a little bit because it is feeling a little more dead than usual. But listen, it's not all bad. Got vaccines and whatnot hopefully on the horizon here. So, maybe that'll bring some Christmas cheer after that.
Maybe, you never know. And this is probably the best time of year to, kick your feet up and watch some good movies. So
Yeah, for sure. And we have we're gonna have some good picks down the pipeline. We're already kind of circulating on one for next week as like a little joint pick for us that is gonna be Thanksgiving themed, which there's not many Thanksgiving themed movies out there, so you can probably deduce that if you're a listener, but we'll save it for the end.
Yeah. All righty. So I don't know how many movies you got into last week, how many TV shows, but any you want to talk about besides Logan Lucky?
Oh man, not really. I didn't have a ton of time movie wise. I did just start up. I saw the Madre, was watching a little bit of the most recent season of The Crown, so
Yep.
I'm jumping back into that. I watched the first episode a couple months back and just didn't get into it for whatever reason. But the new season has Princess Di and all that, and that stuff does really compel me. So I'm interested to see that. So I'm gonna jump into it. We're gonna see what happens here.
I'm an unabashed, unapologetic Crown enthusiast.
It's great. I mean, it's really well made. I wish I hadn't fallen off of it the first time I tried it. Like, it was nothing against the show itself. I just wasn't in the headspace for whatever reason. So hopefully I'll get into it a little bit more this time.
It is very slow. And if you're not really into the whole like royal family thing, I get it. But it seems like the season's really starting to turn the corner a little bit. Plus, if you're into Game of Thrones, you get Charles Dance, you get Tobias Menzies, so a couple connecting threads there.
If you're a Mad Men fan, you got Lane Price playing the King's Speech guy in season 1. So it's interesting parallels there.
Yeah, yep. Peter Morgan, I believe, is the showrunner there. But they do a really nice job.
Yeah, for sure. So that's pretty much all I've been able to dive into. I only saw Logan Lucky is my one movie, so I'm pretty clear movies wise. But it looks like you've been getting really tearing through them the last week. So. Yeah,
it's been a little absurd. I have been like sick for the last 2 weeks, so that's definitely helped kind of pass the time. But I got into a bunch of different movies. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which I know is a favorite of yours. Really enjoy that. And I think that's my first Guy Ritchie movie I've ever seen. So
it was mine too. And I don't know if you've seen Snatch or like what your knowledge is on Snatch, but like a lot of people, when they bring up Guy Ritchie, they're like, oh yeah, Snatch is great. And it's like, I saw Lock, Stock first, and then I saw Snatch, and I was like, am I crazy? Or is like Lock, Stock the better movie, like by a decent margin? That's my opinion. That's probably the opinion of a lot of American people, because I don't know, like if anyone listening knows and couldn't correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure like American executives saw Lock, Stock and they were like, let's just make the American version of this and like put Brad Pitt and a bunch of stars in it. And it's good, but it's not quite as good as Lock, Stock, I don't think, which is really fun, kind of interesting take on the heist movie. Similar to Logan Lucky in some ways, it doesn't really take itself too seriously. It's really funny. A lot of cool stuff.
A lot of slapstick.
Yeah, and I think the coolest part of it is that you literally can't understand a word of it if you're not English for like the first 15, 20 minutes or so, and then you finally start to settle in and get it. And I've seen it a few times since then, and it's not nearly as bad on a second viewing, but
right.
It's got a really unique, fun, cool flavor to it that like you just don't really see these days.
Yeah, I mean, I love the whole British humor thing. Got a lot of similar vibes to The Town, to Oceans. But I think a lot of people feel that way about Reservoir Dogs as being maybe the best Tarantino movie. I mean, it's his first, and it's like so original. And I think the same can be said about Lock, Stock. But loved it. Loved it. I also saw, let's see here, just talk about a couple. I saw American Beauty. I'm trying to work my way through every Best Picture winner as much as feasibly possible. A lot of movies in the 30s that are not available. But it is kind of a creepy movie in retrospect. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a lot of like the Kevin Spacey stuff out there. He is like preying on like a 17, 18-year-old girl. So it is a little bit creepy in that sense. And I think this is an example of a movie that took itself a little too seriously and thinks it's like one of the best movies ever made, when it's just like, it's good. It's good. It's just not in the upper echelon for me. Just a weak year movies wise. And that's how they sneak into that Oscar category, I guess. Yeah. Something like that. No, it was solid. And then I'll talk about one more, Booksmart, which is as Beanie Feldstein, Jonah Hill's sister, and directed by Olivia Wilde. I think, in my opinion, it's the best comedy of the last 5 years. Interesting. That's a take. And not that there's a whole lot of competition there. I would probably put Borat 2 in that conversation, but
That's a bad 5 years. Let me just say that. Man.
Have you seen Borat 2 though?
No.
Okay. But really creative screenplay. Kind of the whole thing about like the high school, like coming of age, but like it's an interesting twist on it, and just really creative, and bravo. It was hilarious.
Cool.
So, all right. If there's nothing else, I guess we can get into a little bit of news here.
Sure.
All right. Starting off, we know our hero Quentin Tarantino put out some exciting news that he has signed a 2-book deal with HarperCollins Publishing. And one of those books is going to be a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood novel, which I know we were both pretty amped for.
Yeah, we definitely are. I think this is like existed in its own form, like behind closed doors since like well before the movie got made. I think he does this with a lot of his movies where he starts off writing them in novel form, and he's been talking about doing it with this movie in particular, like actually releasing it. So it sounds like he's going to do that, and he's going to expand it more for a commercial audience where it's going to have like behind the scenes stuff and like stuff that he didn't get to include into the movie, and expanding some of the characters like the Kurt Russell character, who was sneaky like a favorite of mine and is like the narrator of the movie for some reason. Excited to maybe get some more out of that. Just sounds like a even more in-depth look at a movie that I think is already in-depth enough and is one of my favorites of the decade. So very excited.
Yeah, I know Tarantino's talked a lot about his movies kind of mirroring novels. Like obviously Inglourious Basterds told through the lens of chapters. Pulp Fiction's very much non-linear, so is True Romance. But no, I think it's just a natural thing, and I think it gives him more artistic creativity and freedom to do what he wants.
Absolutely. So it was the first one, which is really exciting. And then what was the second one? Cinema Speculation, was it called?
Let me see here. I don't know if I even saw what it was. I have the article pulled up talking more about Once Upon a Time. Okay, here it is. Tarantino's second book will be a nonfiction novel entitled Cinema Speculation. It will dive deep into the 1970s cinema and feature essays, reviews, and personal writing from the director.
That sounds like it's right up your alley, decade-wise.
Love the 70s. Love the 70s. Best decade for movies, in my opinion. So
very cool. I mean, I'll definitely be reading that as well. So
yeah. You're getting into a book now with Dazed and Confused, right? This will be a nice little segue in a minute.
Absolutely. Yeah. Melissa Mayer's All Right. The Oral History of Dazed and Confused is going to be the sort of frame of reference point for today's segment. About halfway through it. I just got it yesterday. It's like 400 pages, so I've been grinding away at it. It's a great read.
It's awesome. Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second here in our next segment. But other pieces of news, not going to spend more than 10 seconds on this one, but Spike Lee set to direct a Viagra-themed movie, which, if you've seen Love and Other Drugs, that's kind of the point of the entire movie. So I don't know what he's going to do here, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we should ask our doctors if the conversation surrounding this whole thing lasts more than 10 seconds, because I got nothing.
You know how, like, a lot of the times, like in movie years, like you get like a Deep Impact and you get like an Armageddon the same year, like the asteroid movies. Yeah. Are we going to get like a Cialis movie coming after this?
Man, I could see it. Who would be your ideal director, to helm the historic tale of Cialis' rise to comedy?
Man, that's a tough question. Man, I don't even know what to say here. I wouldn't mind.
Well, Wes Anderson, Wes Anderson tends to go pretty long, right? And he would bring a lot of vigor and vitality and energy to it. So I could see that maybe.
I would probably skip the Wes Anderson version of the Cialis movie. Okay. He likes to pull out.
You could do like a PTA. A PTA is like out in the Wild West, and it's like oil fields, and then there's two bathtubs like sitting next to each other, and it's like and like these two people just holding hands, and then Daniel Day-Lewis is just there, and he's like, "I'm an oil man. Get the bathtubs out of my field. My son H.W. Playview is over there. He's my business associate, and he's 12 years old.
Yeah,
I think seeing this.
I think PTA would be perfect for that.
Okay.
And Daniel Day-Lewis is a must for that as well. I know, at the pinnacle of his career, Daniel Day-Lewis was thinking, I'm going to be in a boner movie. So
I'm an erectile dysfunction man.
And then PFT and Big Cat are going to come out with Boner Dogs, and then you're going to have.
I was going to say, it
November.
sounds like we've already got a script that's being worked on over in the New York area that we can maybe direct this over to. But, obviously dogs are going to have to be incorporated. So
Yeah. It's a race to come out with the script. So we're on it. Moving on to our last piece here. David Fincher in the news. It seems like every week now he's signing deals with Netflix. He's, so this title is a little bit unsettling and probably a little bit inaccurate. And it says that David Fincher calls Joker a betrayal of the mentally ill. So I just want to get on my soapbox for just a little bit here and defend David Fincher and look at his quote in full. And he's basically saying the plot is a betrayal of the mentally ill, which is exactly what it is. It's kind of a combination between Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy, two Scorsese flicks. And he's saying nobody would have thought, let's see here, nobody would have thought in this day and age you could trot this movie out for $1 billion, which is true. Goes on to say the same about Marvel movies, that it's kind of, in a sense, ruined the industry because that's basically what the only thing that people want to make is these superhero movies because they know they're going to be instant winners. And I just want to defend him because some people like to put out headlines that are a little bit misleading.
Yeah, and also, I don't know. I never saw Joker. I didn't need it. Looking at where we're at as a society, I don't know if we really need to give voices to this kind of thing or in the way that they chose to, at least. And the people, I don't know, I saw some headlines from some accounts that we follow that I like that were oh, well, he made, Fight Club. It's well, Fight Club is it paints a realistic picture and it doesn't sugarcoat anything. And it's also more about capitalism than anything else. So it's a different sort of conversation that you're talking about entirely. But yeah, I don't know. I'm with him 100%. If people want to enjoy Marvel movies, that's fine. I'm not one of those people. And I think that they are not them specifically, but the people that are making them. And in turn, the people that are funding the money are kind of funneling money away from things that I enjoy. So I'm not a fan of the Marvel industrial complex.
As Dwight Eisenhower once said.
And DC, I'm not, all this shit. I don't really care unless Christopher Nolan is making it.
Exactly. That's my stipulation there. Yeah. So, I'm just going to defend him on that. I'm also going to defend Todd Phillips. That's his name, who made Joker. He's known for, he wrote the screenplay for Borat. He's known for, the Hangover movies, and he wanted to switch gears a little bit. He got a little bit tired of comedy. He got tired of having his movies called out, which is hilarious because he went and made Joker, and that got a shitstorm in the media as well. But
listen, as much as we're sitting here shitting on Joker, that's the most unique take of a superhero movie as I've seen since probably the Nolan movies.
Yeah.
So I don't want to dump on that entirely. It got, positive reviews. I think at the time some people were critically acclaiming it. I think the reception on it has chilled a little bit since then, but they tried something different and seemed to work pretty well. So
I really like Joker. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I would consider it to be a masterpiece, and it's a movie that I'm never going to watch again. So
very cool. Yeah, it seems like the vibe that I get from it. But if I ever do watch it, that'll probably be my sole viewing point. So I'll be sure to pay attention.
Yeah, it's quite disturbing, and that is not exactly what I look for in a movie. But anyway. Moving on to our next segment. We alluded to this a little bit here earlier with Dazed and Confused book. This was a segment brought up by Jake. So the oral histories, what movies would we like to see with a little bit more detail, either in books, novels, etc. So what do you got here for us, Jake?
Yeah, just even starting off with this book a little bit about Dazed, it's probably to sort of define what we're doing here, it's maybe the most in-depth, comprehensive oral history that I can remember reading on a movie or any entertainment property. It's got interviews with almost every cast member. Linklater was heavily involved and helped the author Melissa Mayers out with it big time, and all the studio execs, the casting director, everyone is involved and kind of helps her paint this amazing picture of it. So it's there are obviously oral histories that exist of the movies that we're going to be mentioning here, but just given that treatment where it's a 400-page book that's totally 100% fleshed out. And even in that case, maybe that does exist. Maybe we'll find out, but who knows? My first one was one that does have plenty of stuff done on it, but I would like to see one comprehensive kind of mega Bible written on it, and that is Reservoir Dogs.
Very solid choice. I was thinking in that same vein. Did not pick Reservoir Dogs, but yeah, give me anything, any anthology regarding Tarantino, I would definitely sign up for.
Yeah, exactly. And I picked that one specifically because I think there's a lot that we do know about it. There's a lot that's been said about it since, but like, there's just so many unknown accounts and factors of it. Like, you know,
we know where the name came from?
Exactly. Well, we do, but like, also I'd like to hear Tarantino expand on it a little bit because he was apparently like overheard a conversation where somebody was like recommending Au revoir, Les Enfants, and somebody said, I don't want to see no Reservoir Dogs, and like he just got it from that. It's like, okay, I'd like to hear a little more about that. Like, what's going on there? I'd like to hear about like them going out to New York to find Buscemi and Madsen, and like how Tim Roth got involved. Who I think I have heard that story as well.
Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, Harvey Keitel basically helped make the movie what it was. Yeah, he totally financed it, produced it. So interesting story there. And like I said, I've probably heard and seen all these various different things over the years, but just like to get one comprehensive sort of Bible on it, I think would be really, really cool. So Quentin, you're getting into the book writing game. Let's go here, bud. Write it.
Figure it out. Much in that same vein, I would love to have an oral history of Mean Streets. Yeah, Scorsese's second movie, but probably his first more mainstream. And I think at one point it was the highest grossing independent movie of all time. Yeah, I would just love to. I just love that world, especially like the intro to the movie kind of gives you a look into the culture of the area. I have a lot of Italian ancestry, so I can relate a little bit there. But I would love it. Oh, hey, Matty Bang over here.
You walk in here, I give you my $5 because you want a fucking whore, and I tell you to get the fuck out. What do you say to that? De Niro is fucking awesome in that movie.
He is. Kind of his introduction a little bit to the people. But yeah, I think that would be a solid choice.
Shout out to Marty Scorsese having his birthday the other day as well.
Marty Scorsese.
Yeah, no, it's tremendous. I love the action in it, and yeah, I'm not gonna.
I cannot get enough of his interviews because they're so manic. Like,
I don't know if I retweeted it, so I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if you follow Nick Usen, but he like he tweeted this video of him from like the 70s talking about, I think, Mean Streets, and he's like in his full thing, and he's like, happy birthday to Martin Scorsese, whose love of cinema is matched by nothing else. And then somebody else wrote, I mean, except for cocaine. And he was like, sir, please, it's only movies. So, you know, it's really fun celebration for his birthday.
If I can,
go ahead.
I was gonna say there's a Twitter video here of Joe Pesci talking about him. If I can find it, I'll play it. But
come on, you're breaking my balls here, Marty. No, but he also Marty got a gram off the other day with a birthday cake. I don't know if you follow him on the gram, but
I do not. But I will be 0.5 seconds after this podcast.
I was gonna say you're probably going to that. My second pick does have a oral history and variety that I have read, but I want more expansion on, and that is Swingers.
Yep, I kind of knew you were going to go that direction, which is why I did not pick it. But definitely, I think that was another independent movie that was super successful, just like Mean Streets. Johnny Fav's kind of breakout there. Yeah, love Swingers. It's definitely one of the more rewatchable movies out there.
Yeah, and you talk about independent movies. Like, this is a true independent movie. Like, they're shooting at parties and like not telling their friends that they're shooting a movie. They're just like, all right, we're just gonna film these party scenes, and like if people are in it, then they're in it, and it's whatever. And they go to like crowded bars and like wouldn't ask permission. They didn't have any permits. Like, they just totally like guerrilla shot it basically. So like that's kind of already in that Variety article that I have read, but like more expansion on that from Favreau. You didn't even mention Vince Vaughn. It's his breakout performance. Vince Vaughn, who's also probably would have broken out if he were in Dazed and Confused, which very nearly happened. So that's kind of a funny parallel there. And yeah, just like a true independent movie in every sense of the word, and the breakout of two of the most important stars of the 2000s, I would say. And Doug Liman as well, a really big director. So
I found the video of Joe Pesci, if I can share that real quick.
Rock on.
Okay, give me a second here before I get to my next one. Sharing the right screen. All right. You may have to show it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
as the podcast host there.
Let's see.
Doing some bad audio podcasting. There we go. All right. Let's do full screen.
Go directly.
Can you hear the audio?
And it's what I love about Marty so much is that I'll say, Marty, this is right. No, go ahead. I remember one time on Raging Bull, I was cursing. And Erwin Winkler said to Marty, and I was standing there, I was minding my business. He was talking to Marty, and he said, Marty, could we cut down on the cursing a little bit? Don't forget, television version, we won't have any of this in all night. And Marty was going, yeah. And I put my 2 cents in, and I said, I didn't know you made television movies, Marty. Well, he went crazy. Yeah. He's right. What do I care? What do we care? No, he's right. No, I make movies for. He's right. We're gonna make movies for television. No. Press more. Do what you're supposed to do. Whatever it is, you do it. No, that's it. We go directly for reality.
The scene in Curb when Larry is inexplicably in a Scorsese movie, and like Marty's just like there, like giving him notes, and he's like, "This fucking guy's like nuts."
I'm talking about Taxi Driver.
The Taxi Driver is sort of a return to the type of thing Mean Streets is, but the point is Mean Streets is not, a Taxi Driver is not about Italian, it's about a Midwesterner who drives a taxi cab at night in New York, which is the worst time you can do. The worst time, any time in New York, night. But I in New York all the night. And he drives the car at night, and he really is sort of like Arthur Bremer. You know the character of Arthur Bremer? The guy who shot George Wallace in America?
He's just no response. Like,
Has to
do with political assassination, but really has to do with a fellow who becomes obsessed with something he can't have, which is a woman, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, beautiful woman, played by Sybil Shepherd. And Cavi is going to be played by Robert De Niro. And she works for the political candidate. He eventually tries to assassinate the candidate because he can't have a woman, and for many other reasons.
And for many other reasons.
If it wasn't her, it'd be something else. She's just a catalyst. And eventually the film, it's sort of a kind of a religious film in the sense that it explodes into great violence, repression into violence, like almost like a cleansing,
Still got you? You there? Oh, Christ.
All right. Overloaded my internet there.
Yeah, I think it was worth it, to be honest.
I think so too.
Just never takes no breaths taken.
I think he speaks probably like 180 words a minute. That guy, love him. Love him to death.
His cameo in Taxi Driver is one of the most insane things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Also, shout out to his mom for being in Goodfellas and a lot of other movies.
Yeah. That's exactly what I would expect his mom to look at.
Yeah.
But Swingers, that great indie movie. That would be my pick for second oral history.
Gotta love Swingers. My second pick's gonna be Easy Rider, the classic 1969, which is often described as a motorcycle film, but it's not. It's actually a drug film, in my opinion. I just think that would be a perfect thing, and it's got to exist already somewhere. Came out so long ago, but I think it really describes the cultural shift that was taking place in the late 60s there, and the views of two different Americas.
Very cool. Have not seen it. Want to check it out? You've recommended it, I think. So
Yeah, it's great.
Last one for me would be Superbad.
Superbad, fuck me right. Yeah, it's definitely up there for me as well. I'd love to see some of these Apatow movies, kind of oral history. I think that would be kind of fun.
Definitely, I think just catching somebody like Jonah Hill, who's had so many different careers at this point, and it looks like he might become a top tier director. as we head into the 2020s after mid-90s a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But the guy was just one of the biggest comedy stars in the world. Now he's taken a couple of really good serious roles. Just an absolute rocket ship that he's on right now. So kind of going back to the beginning of his career, his first sort of breakout role, Seth Rogen and Bill Hader kind of first breaking out, like Michael Cera, even like people knew who he was at the time, but like him kind of taking that foray into movies, Emma Stone, like all these people that are, that kind of really put them onto the map. And then plus just the amount of fun they were probably having behind the scenes. It seems like it would be a cool thing to revisit.
Yeah, I mean that dude was perfectly cast in Moneyball and in Wolf, in 21 Jump Street. So definitely wouldn't mind seeing some of that.
And that was my last one.
And my last one, probably going to throw you for a little bit of a loop. But any of the Miyazaki anime movies. So we're talking Spirited Away, we're talking My Neighbor Totoro, Princess Mononoke, any of that type of stuff. They are completely different types of, I mean, obviously they're animated, they're anime, but they're completely different types of movies. And the creativity that this guy has, I think, rivals like a Walt Disney. And they don't necessarily get as much of an audience in the US. They are sort of niche. But if you look up any type of ranking system, Rotten Tomatoes, what have you, they're all like 95% plus. So I'd love to see some of that.
Very cool. Yeah, like you said, a little bit out of my airspace as far as movies that I've seen. But okay, that's a cool choice. I think I like you going outside the box there a little bit.
Yeah. Trying to mix it up a little bit here. Cool. Are you ready to move on to our movie review?
I am incarcerated.
Believe it or not, that's one of my quotes. But just a phenomenal mix here of different actors attempting these accents that they're not, typically native of, especially Adam Driver and Daniel Craig. But thoroughly enjoyed this, and I do got to say off the bat, Joe Bang was great. Love Adam Driver doing the Tim Blake Nelson from Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
You really, I think did you say in your review that it was him or Craig that was doing that? Because I saw your review first, and then I was like, it feels like it's more Driver doing the TBN.
I said Driver, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But I mean, you really probably could say either of them. But yeah, I mean, great performances all around. I got to say, this was a really fun movie. It does have sort of the Ocean's 11 thing going on, which is why I think their sort of relation to it with the Ocean's 7-11 I thought was really cool. Mm-hmm. Fun, doesn't take itself seriously, really unique take on the heist movie. And it also like does something that a lot of heist movies don't do, which is like it takes off the airs and the pretensions. Like, as much as Reservoir Dogs, there's a lot of funny moments in it. It's this macho sort of like alpha fest and guys like pointing guns at each other, and it's a lot of testosterone. Then you look at something like Oceans, it's all about the style, and like Vegas,
it's a high T movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's very glamorous, and like we're gonna go into the Venetian, we're gonna have guys here, like we're gonna impersonate the SWAT team and all that. And like this is just like it's a bunch of dudes out in West Virginia like robbing a NASCAR race. Like it's a totally unique, fun idea. Yeah, I don't know how the hell Soderbergh arrived upon it. I guess we'll touch on that in trivia a little bit, but really cool idea. Had the budget that it needed, perfectly cast. Like it's a solid, I think 8.8 for me. Just a fun original movie. I'm not going to say we need more of it because I say that every time, but I loved it.
I loved it as well. I think there is a definite charm that goes along with movies set in the South. The big Talladega Nights guy, I'll say it. I don't know. I think this is kind of a unique turn for Soderbergh, especially that I don't really know his other movies besides Oceans. I haven't really seen too many of them except for Aaron Brockovich. But yeah, I mean, he's kind of the specialty of the heist movie. I think this cast of characters works out really well. I think he always casts well. That is one of my Throwing Tomatoes, one of the casting choices. But other than that, I think he knocked it out of the park. Yeah,
I think the casting is something I really focused on. I think the writing is really good, and I don't know who's coaching them up on the dialect, but like the way they're hitting some of these words, like insurance and like all this stuff. Like,
yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the way they hit some of the words and like kind of really focus in on weird kind of syllables, and I don't know, like they all pull it off pretty well. I don't know which issue you had with the casting. I could probably guess it's McFarlane.
Nope.
No, okay, okay. I know a lot of people have soured on Seth MacFarlane the last couple of years. I'm a huge Family Guy fan, so I'll always kind of have a special place in my heart for him. So I'm not sure who it is, but we'll find out. And in the meantime, yeah, I thought the casting was great.
Brian, would you get the graham crackers? That's your impression.
Brian loves Olivia Dukakis. Oh, I do.
My favorite Family Guy joke was probably the least PC joke in the history of television when 9/11 happened, and he's like, "Yeah, it must have been a woman pilot."
Oh god. Another good. I mean, they have a shockingly good amount of 9/11 jokes, like the one where they they targets the St. Louis Arch and it like flies underneath it.
Well, I mean, Seth MacFarlane was almost on one of the planes, so
yeah, I mean, he's allowed to joke about it then.
Yeah, he gets a little hall pass there. Classic stuff. Let's see what else I had in my notes here. Got off the track there a little bit with Family Guy talk. This is probably going to be in trivia. I'm expecting it, but did want to address that the screenwriter for this movie, Rebecca Blunt, from what I've seen, does not exist, or at least that name does not exist.
Interesting. So it's like a pseudonym, you think?
It's a pseudonym, allegedly for Steven Soderbergh's wife, Julie Asner.
Interesting. That's cool. Okay, I don't remember seeing that on trivia. Not seeing it off the top, but okay, that's very cool.
Yeah. So, kind of cool. I think she's written a couple of his films, not too many, but if she doesn't want publicity for it for whatever reason, I think there was speculation that it was somebody from Logan, West Virginia, which would make a lot of sense to me, because why would you pick this if you're in Hollywood? You wouldn't necessarily think of rural West Virginia or North Carolina, but kind of fun fact for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's like another thing is the setting is, I think, really well done. It's kind of probably hard to sell a movie that's like set in Appalachia and just like about coal miners and shit. But obviously, if you attach some names to it like Soderbergh and then all the actors they were able to get, it's a much easier sell. But I don't know if you've been out there, man. It's really cool, and there's nothing out there. Like it's just like all country and like gorges and rivers and like foothills basically. And hoping to get out there maybe for some golf at some point. There are a couple like resorts and stuff down that way, but maybe just getting out there and seeing the country and doing a little rafting and tubing situation is what I went out there for last. So it's an interesting part of the country that kind of is overlooked.
Yeah, I have not. I've been to over 20 states or so, and I've never been to West Virginia. So I will definitely have to venture out there at some point. But
yeah, I've weirdly been a few times. I've been like rafting, and then I've been to Morgantown for my brother's friend. He went there. So
I'm sure that's a wild place.
Yeah, I was like 12 years old slamming Natty Low.
What?
It was sick.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
And with this movie, Logan Lucky, the whole Ocean 7-Eleven vibe, I think kind of behooves it, because I think adding some comedy to it is definitely great. I think the bungling Bang Brothers need to be talked a little bit more about, and I'm going to get to that a little bit in quotes, but they were definitely some great comic relief there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know how you arrive on Daniel Craig for that. I'll just say I have no idea how, but it somehow worked. Again, like after seeing Knives Out,
Perfect.
I had that same reaction, and then like makes no damn sense.
No. All right, so getting into some of the categories, I'll start right off with my allusion to the casting choice with Throwing Tomatoes. Didn't really love Hilary Swank in this movie as the FBI agent. I don't know what it was. Was she too stoic? Was she just didn't seem like she fit in the movie at all? And I know that's kind of the point at the end of the movie there, but not a big fan of that.
Part of trivia, I think she first appears an hour and a half in, which is like an interesting choice. And like I don't have many issues with the story, but like maybe they could have incorporated her in a little bit earlier. But yeah, she just appears, and it's like, oh, that's Hilary Swank. That's weird. And then like the main focus of the movie for like the last 20, 30 minutes. Like, okay.
Yeah, I think that storyline was a little bit rough for me, but I love the movie overall. But
yeah, I think She also just like straight up doesn't really give a great performance. I don't think she's kind of like
No.
trying too hard to be like the FBI agent that's like proving how smart she is to everyone. I'm like, okay, maybe play this down a little bit. I know it's like kind of a campy, fun movie, but like, I don't know. They like Terry Benedict isn't like known for. I don't think that performance was like way too over the top, and like he still managed to do a good job. Whoever that actor is, I forget, but
Andy Garcia.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Just maybe play it down a little bit there, Hillary.
Yeah. I mean, if you're asking me to replace her with someone, I don't know, maybe a Jessica Chastain or like a maybe Soderbergh connection with Julia Roberts, but wasn't really loving that. And I think the ending kind of left the door open a little bit to a Logan Lucky 2. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, I think that certainly has been hinted at. I can't remember if I had that in trivia or not, but yeah, I could definitely see a sequel.
Any throwing tomatoes for you?
Just I love Soderbergh, but like the shit, it gets very complicated sometimes.
It does, yes.
Can we tone it down a little bit with like the stuff that you're doing? You're throwing a million things, and like it's brilliantly threaded, I think. But like,
yeah,
man, you just got to be so locked in to like get every little detail. And like that's sort of the point sometimes. Like sometimes he actually is throwing you for a loop to be like, oh, like he was doing that with this. Like in particular in Oceans, like the gag of them like getting in or getting out or not getting out, and then it winds up they are the SWAT team. It's like they kind of do some stuff in that. Like some of it worked for me, some of it didn't. Like I said, I like the story overall, but it just got a little too harebrained sometimes. Like when they're pulling the lady over in front of the girl, and it's like, how did he know to do that? Like I don't know. Just like a couple things I keyed in on. I'm like, all right, I'm not totally following this, but in general, I got it.
What I think is interesting is that's going to be that's a Bravo, because I think he throws all that crap in, but in the end, there is payoff. Like I think with a good heist movie, you need to have a lot of like if but then type scenarios, and then a caveat at the end. And kind of what I mean by that is like in Oceans, for example, like in Oceans 11, they pulled this heist off. They had the video, but what's the caveat? They didn't remove the paint from the floor of the video, so it doesn't say the Bellagio at the bottom. And another example is like Russ leaves the cell phone in Julia Roberts's pocket, and like she knows that, so she knows exactly who like was behind the heist. And with this one, like they get away with all the money and all this stuff, but then they see Seth MacFarlane's character Max in the hallway there, or the tunnel or whatever, so he can identify them. Like it's just a core aspect of the heist movie, and I kind of enjoy that, how it's like connective throughout.
No, yeah, I definitely like it. There's just like maybe it's just my own issue with not understanding it some of the time. Maybe I could pay more attention. I don't know, but like it definitely like here in particular, there were some of the ones where I was like, oh shit, okay, like that's why they did that. And then there were other ones where I'm like, okay, I probably should be like referencing back to something, but I don't know what it is.
Do like they could have some, warnings with Soderbergh movies, just like Adderall required. You have to have be up on something while you're watching to pay.
Yeah, I'll just like mainline some fucking monster or something.
Time to shotgun some monster. We're watching Soderbergh.
Yeah,
that would be a disaster.
Yeah. Yes.
Definitely don't do that with Four Loko. That's all I'm going to say. All right. So keeping score, our next category. I am a big fan of David Holmes, who does the music for the Soderbergh movies. One of my favorite soundtracks of all time is the Ocean's 11 soundtrack. And thoroughly enjoyed this one as well. Little Dr. John, little Bo Diddley. Just get the southern flavor in the music.
Yeah, well, Johnny Denver, kind of the main part of the movie. Yeah, really well done. Kind of caught the flavor of the area, which isn't always easy to do. Did it with the licensed music, and then kind of I don't know, just sort of that humming, sort of heisty music, like jazz heist music that like is in Oceans and is in this a little bit. I don't know if that's scored or if that's like a licensed song, but I don't know, just like some really cues that kind of clue you into like, oh yeah, this is like a Soderbergh heist movie. It's not like a normal heist movie. I like that. It's very stylish. Also,
do you even do a movie set in West Virginia if you don't have country roads?
That's a good point. Maybe they would throw us for the loop and do Thank God I'm a Country Boy.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, we're Orioles fans, so
love the O's line.
Also, Country Roads, by the way, about Maryland. So
it is. I've seen that. I really didn't know that until I saw some takes on Twitter. Shout out Banks and RDT. But yeah, the more you know, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's tough because they have West Virginia in the name or in the song. So it's hard to dispute sometimes, but it's just the facts.
Also, a classic scene in The Office when Andy and Dwight do dueling banjos for that song. Just saying.
Also, another classic scene in The Office is Hillary Swank hot.
See, we're just getting all the connective threads in here.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably an Office storyline for everything that we'll ever talk about on the show. So,
and don't forget, Jake. A painting can be beautiful, but I don't want to bang a painting.
There you go. Like Oscar's like breaking down like the symmetry of her face.
Yeah. See the golden ratio on the cheek here, and yeah, I got it.
Question is she hot? Not what you do her.
Gotta love Kevin Malone. All right, moving on here. We got some quotes for you and some trivia for you as well. Gotta start off with Joe Bang. I am incarcerated.
That was the first one where I was like, fuck yeah, like this is great. Like they got it right with the casting, and the script is no slouch either. That was really funny.
It's very important in some of these Southern accents that you get the deliberate pronunciation of some of these words.
Slow as molasses.
The rest of that quote was, yeah, we got a plan to get you out. Joe Banks said, you Logans must be as simple-minded as people say. Jimmy and Clyde, do people say that? And probably that might be my number one quote. My number two quote is when they're talking to the Hillbillies boys, the brothers. Jimmy Logan says, we need like a computer whiz. And the cowboy says, I know everything there is to know about computers, okay? All the Twitters. I know.
All the Twitters. Yeah, that was...
Love that.
Yeah. We need, like he says, like we need somebody who knows their way around a computer, like one of them Facebook boys.
Yep. Jimmy Logan, are you calling from a secure location? And the hillbilly again, I'm calling on a phone, like a real phone. I'm at and then the phone clicks.
A real phone. Yeah, that was, and he's, can't just say payphone. It's got to be the real phone.
Say payphone.
Shout out to 2017.
Also, did a little jump scare there when Adam Driver drove the car into the convenience store there. That was kind of funny.
Then he like hops out to like buy some Funyuns.
Yeah,
that was good.
Very low key, impressive performance by Adam Driver there.
Yeah, it really was.
Joe Bang here. Now, how many yards away is the vault? And Jimmy Logan says 20 yards. I don't know. I think 30. Is it 20 or is it 30? We're dealing with science here. Which is it? Love that.
He's trying to make a Joe Bang. Y'all boys said it was coming from dynamite or something?
And you referenced the scene a little bit earlier when they pull over the older lady and the car drives by and he says, seen that? And the cop one says, see what? I need you to focus. This woman needs containing. Probably don't have much to do in their jobs there, those cops.
She's on her way to like church or something.
Yep. And last quote I have here by Clyde. Would you give me my arm, please? And he pulls out Clyde's prosthetic arm and holds it up. Is it this one? I love that.
Yeah. A lot of really great bits with the arm.
Laugh out loud when it got sucked into the vacuum.
Yeah, that was really, really funny. Yeah, they really got a lot of mileage out of that joke. I didn't know what to expect when they first opened with it, but they did a nice job with the whole arm storyline.
And like Clyde in the movie is just like, God damn it, it's always about my arm.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just the arm guy, unfortunately.
Yeah, just the arm guy.
Very true. Want to get to some trivia?
Let's do it.
The film was distributed by Cutting Out Studios in order to have creative control and make money directly from the film itself. Accordingly, for this atypical distribution, Steven Soderbergh raised the budget by selling all foreign distribution rights and then sold everything except the movie showing up in a movie theater in order to pay for advertising and imprints of the movie. For example, selling post-theatrical rights to the likes of HBO, Netflix, video on demand, television, and airplanes. By following these two steps, Soderbergh was able to sidestep a Hollywood studio and had creative control over the entire time. For instance, the trailers that dropped earlier in the summer were by his design, as was the poster and the entire marketing plan. Also, according to Soderbergh, under this setup, the box office bar for success is lower. With nearly everything prepaid and no hefty distributor fees coming off the top, even a modest $15 million opening would be a win, which I was really intrigued by. Like, this feels like a massive, like, big budget type of movie. It sounds like he kind of, obviously, like, Steven Soderbergh is independently wealthy, and he's probably a little more able to do something like this than a lot of other directors, but maybe some auteurist directors that are looking to sidestep the studio system and get a wide release and kind of make it an event could do something like this.
Yeah, I think that's going to become more and more the norm. We've talked about, to death, how Marty Scorsese had a lot of issues financing The Irishman, and it took well over 10 years to do so. So, like, even the heaviest of hitters can't finance these movies. So you got to find creative ways to do it.
Yep. The list on Jimmy Logan's fridge is the list from the movie How to Rob a Bank and 10 Tips to Actually Get Away with It, 2007, directed by Andrew Jenkins. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not. Never heard of it.
Neither was I.
Okay. Sick.
The state trooper who pulled over the elderly lady was retired NASCAR driver Carl Edwards.
So I did see that there were a number of cameos by NASCAR drivers. I'm not a big NASCAR guy, so I couldn't tell you. I know Jeff Gordon.
I was going to say, are you a NASCAR guy? Because I'm not. I've gotten a little bit into Formula One this year, which is a sick sport, and we're probably going to be doing some F1 movies. Just warning you.
Okay. Is that like the Andretti's? Is that?
So it's basically just Europe's NASCAR. Like, it's every week there's a race, and it's however many laps. Who
isn't Michael Fassbender in that?
No, I think he does. I think he would theoretically get up to it, but like there's lower levels of it, and F1 is highest. Like there's like F2 and then like lower levels beyond that.
Gotcha.
So I think he does that type of racing. It might be a different type, but yeah, I believe that's it. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, Senna is a documentary that's on Netflix right now. It's about like the GOAT. I think I want to do that for this show at some point.
Okay.
The Ford v Ferrari is like about it like 50 years ago or whatever. It was a little different at the time, but yeah, it's really, really cool sport. So not a NASCAR guy, but I am an F1 guy. And it feels like the guy that was Seth MacFarlane's partner would actually be an F1 driver. Talking about his software and like all that. The F1 drivers are really weird. I could see him kind of being based on somebody like that.
Yeah, really into it.
Yeah.
Got it.
The trainer that appeared with Dayton White, Sebastian Stan, in his interview video was Stan's real-life personal trainer, Don Saladino.
Oh, why don't you look at that? I love when you take non-actors and put them into these roles, like the Bonds bailsman or whatever his name is in Good Time. Actually, a Bonds guy.
It always works fine. Like, I don't know why people don't do it more and save themselves.
Don't be scared of it.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's their job.
Several NASCAR drivers have cameos in Logan Lucky, like you mentioned. Ryan Blaney as the cake delivery boy, and Kyle Larson, who I have heard of, as the limo driver. Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch, there's a name, as West Virginia State Troopers. Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano as the security guards. Jeff Gordon and Darrell Waltrip also appear in the film.
Also, I know Jeff Gordon. I also know Dick Trickle as a legendary NASCAR guy.
Shout out to the Dan Patrick Show. Dick Trickle always finished last, was the joke.
Love Dan Patrick.
Yeah. This was the first movie directed by Steven Soderbergh since announcing his retirement from film. The last was Behind the Candelabra, which I didn't even know that.
I had no idea that was a thing. So is this going to be his last movie? Is he going to pull a Michael Jordan / Brett Favre and unretire again? I guess we'll have to see.
Maybe he'll write books.
That would be sick too. I would read them.
I mean, the fact that he did all this just pretty much by himself, like,
yeah,
he basically pulled off a heist of his own. Maybe keep doing it.
Good one.
Riley Keough, who plays Melly, is Elvis Presley's granddaughter. Her mother is Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of Elvis and Priscilla Presley.
Never would have known that. But with a lot of these movies, I like to look up the cast and kind of see their movie index, and in her bio, it was right there. And I was like, yeah, more you know.
Cool. That's a cool fact.
Yeah.
Michael Shannon and Matt Damon were originally part of the cast, but both dropped out due to scheduling conflicts.
That would have been...
I could see Damon kicking ass in this movie. Michael Shannon, that feels like an odd fit. But so does Adam Driver, to be fair. And
yes. To be fair, Adam Driver seems like an odd fit in every single movie that he's cast in, just because he's giant and an ex-Marine and His voice is
Well, yeah, I was
insanely
gonna say
deep.
I love him in every role he plays because nobody loves Troops more than me.
You love Troops. Yeah, I'm with you. I've definitely grown a lot on Adam Driver. I was not too keen on him a little earlier in his career, but he's kind of grown on me a little bit.
Yeah, I really only knew him in the Star Wars movies, and I haven't seen like Marriage Story or anything like that really. So haven't seen Girls. I think he's in that.
I just watched Frances Ha, which is if you know Greta Gerwig is, she directed Lady Bird and a couple of the movies, and is married to Noah Baumbach, who directed Marriage Story, but he also directed this movie back in 2012. So you get to see a young, short-haired Adam Driver.
Very chill. Michael Shannon would be weird in this movie. We're coming after with the Prohibition Bureau. All right, Michael, calm down a little bit.
All righty, you get it.
Domhnall Gleeson says he was jealous of brother Brian as he got to hang out with Adam Driver while filming. Brian Gleeson plays Sam Bang.
All right. Also, random note: Katie Holmes in this movie, just kind of a random person to have in this movie.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize her first. I was like, "Who is that?" And then I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Okay. When Warden Burns, portrayed by Dwight Yoakam, appears in the cafeteria, he speaks to an inmate named Jesco. This is a reference to the infamous Jesco White from the documentary Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. I really just wanted to touch on the warden. What a character. Very Trumpian.
Yeah. Kind of just, I don't know. He doesn't want to make waves. He doesn't want his reputation of his prison to go down. Dwight Yoakam, I'm trying to see what else I've seen him in. I
definitely know the name.
So he's got a music career. He's a singer-songwriter and actor, and he was in Wedding Crashers.
Right.
In that
rule number one, never bail on your fellow brother.
You seem like a really enlightened cat.
Yeah. This is kind of a sick one. The ring worn by Adam Driver was the same ring worn by Raylan Givens, Timothy Olyphant in Justified.
I mean, Timothy Olyphant's a straight up G. Like, let's just be real.
He really is. He would have been sick in this movie.
He's like the most typecast, but I mean,
but it's the best way possible. Like, he totally owns it, and like, he's just very. It seems like a great dude.
Yeah, big fan of his.
Okay, here we go. Katherine Heigl was originally cast, but then dropped out due to pregnancy. She was replaced by Katie Holmes.
I mean, poor Katherine Heigl. She gets shit on a lot for being like not a good person. I would like to see her get another chance in a movie. I haven't seen her in a long time.
What did she do?
Apparently, she's like really nasty on set. So like I've listened to like interviews with like Apatow. He had her knocked up, and he had nothing bad to say about her. But I've heard many other people say she kind of got blackballed in the movie industry a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a gender disparity there too. I'm sure there are plenty of male actors that are total dicks that keep working. So
Christian Bale.
Well, yeah, I think he had one very publicized issue, but other than that, I've heard he, decent dude.
Yeah.
But what do I know? Huh. The only plausible scenario where Jove's explosive formula would generate potassium chlorate would be if the sodium hypochlorite disproportionate simultaneously undergoes oxidation and reduction. Such a reaction would happen quite slowly in solution of commercial bleach. The reaction would have to accelerate more rapidly to get the desired results. Potassium chloride, one of his ingredients, would actually be a likely product of this reaction. And that I had that in Throwing Tomatoes. I was like, this is totally unrealistic. Like all of that stuff.
You didn't think I was going to bring sticks of dynamite, did you?
Oh, actually, we kind of did.
Well, actually, that would make a lot of sense. But okay.
Channing Tatum's fourth collaboration with director Steven Soderbergh, the others being Haywire, Magic Mike, Side Effects. Riley Keough also starred in Magic Mike 2020.
I have not seen Magic Mike. It's not something.
You know what? It was. I think it would be maybe a little off the radar of people like us, but listen, I've heard good things.
Magic Mike 2, though, heard really good things.
Yeah.
Mr. Soderbergh
on here. One of the two 2017 movies featuring Channing Tatum and the song Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver. The other one being Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Kingsman's sick.
I've not seen Kingsman. That seems like it would be a Guy Ritchie type movie.
It literally is a Guy Ritchie movie.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Actually, I don't know if he made it, but it's literally, it's just a Guy Ritchie movie. Like, I don't know who directed it or what, but It's
Seems
good.
like posh type, like British
Yeah,
people in suits. guys.
gentlemanly. Like, I don't know if you ever heard that Guy Ritchie interview on Rogan, but like,
Yeah,
some,
I did.
yeah, some of the stuff he gets into on there, it kind of reminds me of like the Kingsman sort of King Arthur type deal. Early in the film, when the Logan brothers go to Joe's brothers Fish and Sam to ask them to join the heist, Jimmy says they'll know what we want them to know. Later in the film, there's a flashback to the same scene, and the line changes to "They're gonna know what we want them to know." That's always kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, I liked a lot of these quotes in here. Very creative screenplay by the anonymous person.
The that happens in Pulp Fiction too. Like at the beginning when all you motherfuckers get on the floor, and then like she kind of changes the line.
I love that.
Very sweet.
Not gonna lie, it's a top 10 opening to a movie ever.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that and Reservoir Dogs are like 1 and 2. they're in my like top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
Adam Driver and Daniel Craig also appear together in Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Driver played antagonist Kylo Ren, and Craig played a stormtrooper. I did not know Daniel Craig was in that.
That's kind of hilarious. If you want another fun fact on Star Wars, Bill Hader was the voice of BB-8.
I didn't know that either. I like that.
Yep.
Daniel Craig had to bleach his hair for the role of Joe Bang. That's not surprising at all.
I feel like he would have zero problem doing that. And actually, when he bleaches his hair, he looks way more like a American, like in and out of prison type dude. Or like a neo-Nazi type guy.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Then we had one that kind of referring to Adam Driver being right for the role because he was a Marine, and like then the arm thing. The ending of the movie hints that Clyde's theory of the Logan curse might strike again. Earlier in the film, when Jimmy is listening to Clyde's theory in the bar, Clyde claims that the Logan's bad luck comes right when things are going well. Jimmy blowing out his knee when he was the quarterback king in high school, and Clyde's losing his forearm in an explosion in Iraq while on his way to the airport to fly home. At the bar, all appears well for the Logans and their Confederates in the robbery, but Agent Grayson's appearance at the bar, suggesting that she'll stay for a while as she flirts with Clyde, and the final shot of Clyde's arm holding a beer hint that the famous Logan curse may strike again. So there's your sequel, potentially.
Yeah, and Hilary Swank says at the end, like, I may be staying here for a while. So a little hint there. Also, very strange casting choice to have Jerry Gergich as the boss of Jimmy there from Parks and Rec.
Yeah. There are a couple Parks and Rec. Jim O'Hare's in this too. He's a Parks and Rec.
That's Jim O'Hare. Yeah, Jerry Gergich.
Oh, okay.
That's his character name on Parks.
Yeah, I never knew his last name. They always just say Jerry. Shut up,
Jerry.
Yeah. Jim O'Hare's a funny guy.
He is a funny guy. I'm a big fan of his.
When the heist is being reported by a news station on various televisions in the film, one interviewee refers to the heist as Ocean's 7-Eleven in reference to the Ocean's film franchise series, which were directed by Steven Soderbergh. So do you think this is a Soderbergh verse type thing where like they just knew about the crime and they called it Ocean's 11, or is Ocean's 11 a movie in this universe? What do you think?
I would think that it's a movie in the universe. That would be my guess.
Okay. I kind of like the idea of it being a Soderverse. Be
sick. We got a Tarantino verse, so
yeah, there's plenty of verses. There's Kevin Smith has the View Askew-niverse, which is a tremendous name.
Kevin Smith is the man.
Yes, he's a great guy. Yeah. When Max Chilblain's car is set on fire after the bar fight at the duct tape, he and his two cohorts pull out their phones. McFarlane has his phone to his ear while the other has his hand over his other ear. His two cohorts' phones are blocking their mouth and eyes, respectively, a visual cue to the popular hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the Seth MacFarlane casting choice, but definitely was a parody of himself there.
Yeah, I liked it. I could see a lot of people being like, "Oh, Seth MacFarlane."
Yeah, who cares?
He was really good. He was funny.
Yeah.
And if you need a guy to do an accent, I mean, smuggling loot out as garbage.
Call Jake Luke.
Yeah. Well, yeah, true. Like, hey, Steven, if you're listening, my work on here is well documented. Smuggling loot out as a garbage was a plot device in the original Ocean's 11 from 1960.
Oh, okay. See, I've not seen the original, but I've heard the updated version is much better. So,
yeah.
But you get the Rat Pack, so can't cover.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not all lost. Using cockroaches to find a vault access and vacuuming out the loot were plot devices in 11 Harrow House. Are you familiar with 11 Harrow House?
I'm not.
Me neither. Despite being Sadie's uncle, Clyde Logan does not share any scenes with her throughout the film. Hilary Swank's character first appears in the film after 1 hour and 33 minutes have elapsed. Like we said, interesting choice there. Clyde kicks Joe down a garbage chute, then jumps down after him. Driver and Craig appear in the Star Wars saga, in which Driver's father, Han Solo, does the same to Chewbacca.
So, quick sidebar here. Can you explain the idea of getting away with the money and then calling it in and then saying, oh, we got some left over in the garbage? Is there a point to that? Just to like throw them off the scent? Is that the idea?
I kind of got that's one of the things that I kind of got a little lost on, but I think they just anticipated that when they got that insurance back or whatever, like they figured like they would just kind of let the cold go or the trail go cold. You know what I mean?
Some real hell or high water aspects to this movie.
Yeah, I definitely could see the parallels. It felt to me like a Soderbergh up version of Hell or High Water.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that was all I have for trivia.
Cool. Love Logan Lucky. If you want to see it, I believe it is streaming on Amazon Prime. We're trying to stick to streaming movies as much as we can, but if not, available for rent. So with our next movie, I'm just going to check it right now. You can tell the people. I want to check if it's streaming.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to actually, but we made a little bit of an audible here right before we started recording. Want to get into the holiday themes a little bit. We missed over that on Halloween. Didn't do the Michael Myers movie or anything like that, but this time we are going to go ahead and do that correctly with maybe the only Thanksgiving movie ever made in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I've seen this movie approximately a dozen times. Just seems like, one of those comfort movies that you watch, sit down with the fam over the holidays and watch. Love John Candy, especially.
John Candy, a little Steve Martin. It's John Hughes directing. It's just a absolute comfort holiday movie, but not too kitschy or too much of a kiddie movie. There's enough for everyone, so it's gonna be a good one. I think. Looks like it's not going to be streaming to anything except Tubi and Fubo TV, which I don't think many people listening to this are going to be super into. But some people use Fubo for their TV option, so who knows?
Yeah, it seems like Fubo's kind of a popular option. It's not something I dabble into. Planes, Trains, Automobiles. Got a shower curtain salesman. Is that what he is? For sure. Shower curtain ring
salesman. Yeah.
Ring salesman specifically, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite comedic movies of that era. John Candy, much like Chris Farley type. Passed far too soon, but any movie he makes is kind of turns into gold. So it's excited for this one.
Yeah, it's our first PTA pick.
Is it really? Wow.
Yep.
I love this. Got it. See, here's what's funny.
I'm a ring curtain ring salesman.
That would not have worked.
I'm a shower curtain ring man.
What's the saying he when he's in the church and he gets baptized? What does he say?
I know the other guy is screaming "Be gone, ghost" or something.
I forget what it is. I'm just picturing that in this movie.
I take the body of Christ. I'm a member of the church now. What is it, HW? Was it the explosion?
I got to rewatch. Rewatch that movie. I'm going to get into Lincoln a little bit though.
I did. Yeah, I kind of want to see Lincoln as well.
Noted psychotic Daniel Day-Lewis had Obama on the set, and he had to call Daniel Day-Lewis Mr. President.
Oh, I bet. I'm an American man. Mary Todd. This is my associate, Mary Todd. She's my wife.
Oh man. Bandy track. Daniel Day-Lewis. PTA. Speaking of PTA, that would have been my movie pick for this week, a PTA movie. So you just have to wait in suspense for that one.
Okay, cool. 2 weeks until your next pick then.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Very cool. All right, bud. Is that all we got for this week?
Yeah, I think we'll get out of here. Thanksgiving next week. So be sure to tune in for that. I think we're going to, like Jake said, probably going to follow the holidays a little bit. And you know what? They made it easy for us, right? Because they made a New Year's Eve movie. They made a Valentine's Day movie. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Talk about all-time classic Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve.
Can't wait.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, hope you guys stay tuned for that. Hope you guys enjoyed what you heard tonight. And if you did, go ahead and subscribe to us. If you have not already, leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Go ahead and follow the show on social media. You can find us on Twitter at Bingo Pod. You can find me at Jake Luke. That's LOUQUE. Matt is mpine_, and that is Pine with a Y. And follow us on IG at That's a Bingo Podcast. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Hope you enjoyed Logan Lucky. Be sure to check out Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for next week's podcast. And we will talk to you guys then.
Booyah.
Peace.